So if we could just take a minute to review the minutes from last meeting, so we could hopefully get those posted for the board members.
Okay.
I sent them out earlier. Hopefully you guys have them. The good old St. Patrick's Day meeting. That was a good one.
Steve, it's Steve Kirby.
Yes.
I got one comment on the minutes on the second page. There's a typo down at the bottom. It should be application for payment, not application for permit.
Okay.
Noted. Okay. Okay, great. All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes with the one correction from Steve Kirby from Tuesday, March 17th, 2020. Do I have a second?
I'll second. Stephanie Holland.
Okay. Do you want to do the roll call, Nancy?
Yes, please. Do you want to call for a vote and I'll do the roll call?
I just, I did, yeah. That's okay.
Sorry.
No problem.
Thanks so much fun. Ms. Holland?
Aye.
Mr. DeSalvio?
Aye.
Mr. Gilmet?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Elliott? Excuse me, Deputy Chief Elliott?
Aye. Aye. Oh.
Mr. Campagna?
Carl, could you vote?
Aye.
Thank you.
Ms. Finney? Ms. Finney?
I wasn't at that I wasn't at that meeting, so I don't think I can vote.
Okay.
Ms. Hayes?
I was not present either.
I think that was it, yeah.
Okay.
Karen was there, right?
Yeah, but she's not a voting member.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. So yeah, hopefully we can move through the agenda here fairly quickly tonight. The first item up is the senior center project, which seems to be coming along nicely. So there's been some decent work going on over there. It looks like you can actually see the foundation, see where the building's going to be. So that's great. So I'll turn it over to Steve Kirby here for a rundown and update of the project.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Currently, the senior center building foundation is approximately 80% complete. They started the last 20% today, which is inclusive of the elevator pit walls. They have started backfilling on the interior of the foundation walls. Damp proofing of the exterior of the foundation walls started today. The elevator piston and casing was drilled and installed yesterday morning before the weather got too bad. The existing underground utility demolition has started. New precast structures, castings, pipe, and drainage chambers have been delivered, and they're preparing to start installation of underground utilities. We did sustain some wind damage from yesterday to the fence, the gates, the green scrim that's hung off the fence, and the trailer power wires were taken down, but unbelievably not disconnected by a down tree limb from a tree that was adjacent to the Cudworth house outside the work limits. But that's going to have to be addressed by National Grid and the electrical contractor. We have received our curb cut and street opening permits. We are still waiting for the sewer tie-in permit. In regard to the rec center south stairs, the footings, walls, and ramp have all been poured. They're going to be forming up the concrete stairs next, and then they will continue to infill with the wooden section of the ramp. So that's ongoing. We did have a 1-week stoppage of work by Delphi due to a interpretation of the governor's guidance, but that has since been resolved, and they are back to work. They were somewhat out from 4.3 to 4.9. Any questions on construction progress?
No, thank you for mentioning the stop work. Yeah, I know you guys, went back and forth with the contractor a lot and really vetted that and made sure you guys are falling in line with the right protocols and procedures to stay safe and work safely. So we appreciate that, and you getting people back to work and keeping everybody busy and keeping the project going, certainly. So that was really helpful. So thank you.
You're welcome, and that sort of rolls into COVID-19 as a topic. We have, we have shared the various guidances that have come out from the governor's office in regard to construction projects. Delphi put together a COVID-19 plan for compliance with the guidance that has come out on site, and that has been submitted to the Board of Health for review and approval last week. We have been having job meetings via conference call. In fact, the work is currently outside, and regard to foundations and site utilities makes the social distancing a little bit easier. At this point, we don't have an enclosed building. The guidance gets a little bit more stringent once the building is enclosed. Hopefully we're out of this COVID issue by that time. But there is a plan in place, and they are doing daily checklists for both Delphi employees and the subcontractors.
Yeah, that screening form is great. That helps alleviate a lot of it and gets people thinking about being safe and operating and the social distancing. So I think that was a good form to hand out. How are you guys doing on PPE and everything? Is there plenty of PPE around?
Well, that is a little bit of a problem. Essentially construction wide as far as getting proper PPE, but as far as cleaning the trailers and so forth, Delphi has purchased materials. They're going to be setting up an exterior wash station, which they just got delivered. They'll be pulling water from the Gate School. People are wearing masks and cloth face masks for the most part if they're going to be close to each other. As far as any kind of surgical gloves, the construction guidance calls for cut-proof gloves. So those are really work gloves, which most of the guys have already. Signage has been put up as far as the standards. So it's it's if you're trying to get hand sanitizer, it's not easy, but right now the Porta Johns have hand sanitizer, and it's still. I was there this morning, so I know it's still available. So it's we're keeping up as best you can with what availability is allowing.
Good. All right. Any other comments? No, go ahead, Steve.
Okay. As far as the project schedule, the substantial completion date has not changed at this point. We have no change orders to review today. I do have some PCOs to preview with the commission. Some of them we've already started going through the vetting out process, but there's 5 that are being looked at right now. I'll go through those. COP number 6 is a relocation of a yard drain on the east side of the senior center. Essentially, it was shown with its piping going through a tree that was to remain. The civil engineer revised the sketch to reroute it around the tree. We made some modifications to that original sketch, and it may end up being a no-cost change. So, but the cost for the original sketch was $1,238.69. We're trying to, like I said, revise the scope to essentially eliminate that. The next COP is, we're already in a revision right now, it's COP 7R1. There were 2 underground drain lines inside the footprint of the building. They appeared to be almost like a dry well that was built into the under the slab that was discovered. It was latent. They had to remove those. It was pipe that was encased in stone. We ended up, they submitted it originally as almost a time and materials, but referenced the unit price. We went back and said that we agreed that the drain lines weren't shown, but we implemented the unit price, which eliminated some of their supervision, overhead, and profit, because the unit price includes all of that. So we're ending up with a cost of $2,856. That's one that I will be recommending approval on, and we can vote on that when it comes up on as a change order.
Okay.
The next one is COP 9R2. We're on a second revision with this one. The engineer opted to revise the foundation to add a shelf at the top of the foundation wall to bear the slab on. The original detail called for the edge of the interior slab to butt to the top of the foundation wall. They were concerned that there may be settlement there. In addition, the foundation wall is wider than the exterior wall, so there would have been a joint on the inside of the building, which may have, again, if there was some differential settlement, would have caused some potential flooring issues. What they opted to do is put a shelf at the top of the wall in order for the interior slab to bear on, and that joint will also end up underneath the wall framing. We are currently at a price of $1,219.71. I had a couple minor comments on that. It should go down a little bit, but I'll be recommending that for approval on the next change order.
So you reviewed that. I know we reviewed that one, but you reviewed that with the architects and got their input and everything on that one.
Well, it was the design came, the redesign came from them on it.
Okay.
It was an SKS that they issued.
Sure. Is that a typical detail for construction like this, or is that something that's?
It's not out of the ordinary. It is better than what they had specified. I've seen what they had specified. We've done before, but this is better. If there is any kind of problem with the with any kind of potential settlement or even heave or anything with the slab in relation to the foundation wall, especially if that joint ends up being inside the building. You would see it reflect through on your flooring.
Right. Okay.
So, I mean, that may be something that would potentially happen a couple years down the line, which this should eliminate that concern. The next item is COP number 10R1. It's a revision to the low voltage and the security system that was specified. This was in conjunction with Mike Mancello in some of the items that he felt was unnecessary based on the infrastructure that was already in place for security system. Also, there's a potential change on the scope on some fiber lines that we're going to be running through the B wing to feed the senior center. At the moment, we have a submitted credit change order of $8,771.42. We've had a couple of conversations on it. The feeling is that the credit is too low, and we are going back to the contractor with our comments in regard to some of the specific line items that they have provided. They've given good details, so we were able to really look at the components of their credit change order, but we're not in agreement at this point with that credit amount.
So that was a potential credit for IT kind of infrastructure and fiber and everything, or?
Yes, but it's all work that was included under the electrical contractor scope. We're just we're reducing that, and at this point it's early enough that they haven't bought anything yet. So
okay, great.
I don't even think the submittals come in. So
okay.
We don't have to run into that situation where they say, "Well, I've already bought the equipment, you own it." So
sure. Good.
And then the last item is...
Wait, can I interrupt a second, Mr. Chair?
Yes, Karen, go ahead.
Karen Canfield. I'm sorry, Steve.
No problem.
Did I hear correctly that you said that the fiber lines, I'm sorry, I don't have the right word, is going to connect through the B wing?
Correct. Yeah, because there's a hub in the gate school. So as part of the contract, we've got a feed going to the senior center from the gate school.
And where does it originate? In the A wing, or?
It runs down towards the A wing. Correct.
Okay, so.
Yeah, part of it's already there.
Okay, so down the road, in theory, if we decide to either repurpose or remove the B wing, that line then will need to be relocated?
Hold on one second. Yeah, there will be some infrastructure that may have to be moved over.
And that's feasible?
Because I just called up the drawing. We have a cable demarc at it's really like the A to B wing location, and then there is another MDF closet in the B wing.
And in theory, if for some reason the B wing was removed, we could accommodate that with either an underground cable or some other structure?
Well, then we also have coming out of the senior center 2 conduits going to a utility pole. So
okay.
I think we're covered with all that.
Okay.
Like I said, there may be some infrastructure work that maybe have to be done, but it's not. We have the underground conduits going to the pole on First Parish.
So there's futures there.
Okay,
yeah, that
great.
makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And then the last one that's been submitted is COP number 11. It was a deletion of some seismic restraint requirements on the HVAC equipment based on the classification within the code, within the IBC codes, and that was reviewed by the engineers and agreed that it could be deleted. Right now, the credit that's been submitted is $3,318.06, and that's under review right now with the engineers.
Okay.
So hopefully at the next meeting, I'll be presenting a change order for. I would hope all of these.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be good just to wrap it up into one.
Yep.
Good. Just go
Okay.
ahead.
Yep.
No, just speaking, budget-wise, I don't know how, if, at some point here, it'd be good to have just a touch base on budget and things like that in the meeting here. Check on contingencies, stuff like that,
Right. Well, the way I set up my PCO log is I have the PCOs listed, and I list even the ones that are, have been revised and voided out, so that we know where they started and where they ended up. And at the bottom of the PCO log, I have our contingency. And even if we haven't agreed on the final amount, I always look at the worst case to see what our contingency is remaining.
Okay.
So right now, it's early in the project. Our contingency is in good shape.
I hope so. That's good.
Yep. We should also be getting a credit back on the quantity. I might have mentioned this at the last meeting. The quantity of asbestos damp-proofing foundation wall that was removed from the site from the old seaway, because there was an allowance, an amount that was to be carried in the contract, and we did not reach that amount, and there is specific unit price for a deletion of quantity based on tonnage. We've got to get the waste manifest back, which will show the actual tonnage when they went into the transfer station.
Oh, good. Okay. All right.
The next thing is Delphi's application for payment number 3.
So just before we move into that, I just want to ask anyone on the phone or the board if they have any questions about the project, or anything any comments on the project, or.
No. None from me.
Okay.
None for me. No.
Good. All right. Let's get into these payments here.
Okay. The application for payment number 3 is through March 31st.
That's for Delphi, right?
It's an amount for Delphi,
Yes.
correct. The amount is $379,381.64. Brings us a little over 9% of the project complete. Vertex vetted the pencil wreck out. The architect certified it yesterday. It's for cost involved with abatement, demolition, concrete, damp-proofing, mist metals, electrical site work, general conditions, and change orders.
Okay. So we had the rec, yes, and I sent it out to the board earlier for review, and I don't know if anyone has any comments or questions on it or clarifications needed, but it looks pretty comprehensive, and it looks like it's all there. Does anyone have any questions on it or comments?
No, I don't.
No.
No, I don't. No, I'm looking at it right now.
None from me.
Go ahead, Carl.
No, I was just saying, I'm looking at it right now, and it looks fine to me.
Okay. All right. I'd like to make a motion to approve the payment for application number 3 to Delphi Construction in the amount of $379,000, 318.64, bringing the project to 9.14% invoiced. The document's been certified by Vertex and the architects. It's in the costs are associated with abatement, demolition, concrete, damp-proofing, mist metals, electrical, site work, and general conditions and change orders. Is there a second?
Second.
That was Carl.
Thank you.
All right. Go through a roll call here.
Okay. Bear with me for 1 sec. Gonna get my list again.
No problem.
Ms. Holland?
Aye.
Mr. DeSalvio?
Aye.
Mr. Gilmet?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Compagna?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Mr. Shea?
Aye. So moved, thank you. All right.
That's all I have for the senior center, Steve.
Okay. Should we vote on these and see what
Sure, might as well.
So we do have these couple other invoices. One's from Vertex and 2 of them from Bargman for some architect work. I sent those out earlier too for everyone to review and take a look at. I've reviewed them. They look pretty consistent with the project and the stage the project at. So I guess we can look at the Vertex one here first. So this is for services up to date here. The order was dated 9/10/19. It was for the Vertex bill and then also for some Fitzmyer Tachi commissioning amendment, and then for change order number 2 materials testing that we carried on the contract. So that's for the full contract. The amount of the payment requested for tonight was $27,645.00. Is there any questions for Steve on the bill or anything that comments from the board?
No.
Okay.
No. No.
No.
All right. I'd like to make a motion to approve purchase order to Vertex Engineering Companies in the amount of $27,645 for services rendered to date on the project. Is there a second?
Second.
That was Larry.
Okay. Sorry. Taking votes and typing at the same time is not good for me.
Sorry, take your time.
Ms. Holland?
Aye.
Mr. DeSalvio?
Aye.
Mr. Gilmet?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Compagna?
Aye.
Mr. Shea?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So the next invoice we have here in front of us is from Bargman Henry Architect for their February services. This was the monthly cost for where they're at now, site visits. Vertex has reviewed the invoice and has recommended paying it. The invoice amount for February for Bargman is $19,124.80. It's for services associated with construction administration, basically. I think it brings the contract to about 24% of the full contract. Is there any questions or comments on the February bill?
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
I'd like to make go ahead, sorry. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the February invoice from Bargman, Henry and Associates, architect type, sorry, in the amount of $19,124.80. Invoice has been reviewed by Vertex, and they are recommending payment. The invoice is work for costs associated with on construction administration, and it brings the contract to about 24% paid. Is there a second?
Second? I'll second.
It's Stephanie, I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
Ms. Holland?
Aye.
Mr. DeSalvio?
Aye.
Mr. Gilmet?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Compagna?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Mr. Shea?
Aye. All right, last one. So same deal with Bargman. It's their March invoice. It's for the same amount, $19,124.80. The invoice has been reviewed by Vertex, and they're recommending payment. I took a run through it. It looks pretty consistent with the last invoice for the monthly. It's a same deal. Costs associated with work in construction administration. It brings the invoiced amount to 32%. Sorry, for the project. Is there any questions or anything to review on the invoice from the board?
This is Ed. I have a question. Is their construction phase invoicing going to be spread out right through the end of the project, or are they going to be paid in full before construction's finished? If
No,
they're already at 30% and we're just doing foundations.
It's spread out, and they're in the process of doing all the submittal review right now. So, in reality, a lot of their work is during construction administration is now. As we get towards the end, there'll be some more submittals, but it won't be the deluge that they have now.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty.
They
It
had
was
their
kind of front
consultants
loaded,
in that
right?
too.
Sorry, Steve, I stepped on you.
Yeah, I just
No,
didn't want to
it's-
see them run out of money before the job's done and have them, kind of disappear before the job's finished.
No. Even if we go long, which I don't plan on it. If a project starts going long, then I have the architect start cutting down what's left, and apportioning that equally. So I don't want them to run away.
Okay.
Not that they would, but it's just the urgency will be gone.
Right.
Right.
No, good comment, Ed.
Okay,
It's
thanks.
definitely something to keep an eye on. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Is that all from the board?
No, I don't have any comment.
Okay. All right, so I'd like to make a motion to approve payment for March services to Bargman, Henry, and Architect Type in the amount of $19,124.80. Invoice has been reviewed by Vertex, and they are recommending payment. The invoice is for costs associated with work on construction administration, bringing the contract to 32% paid. Is there a second?
Second?
Thank you, Carl.
Ms. Holland?
Aye.
Mr. DeSalvio?
Aye.
Mr. Gilmet?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Compagna?
Aye.
Mr. Shea?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
Great, so moved. Thank you. All right, any final comments for the This senior center project, any last words? I'll take that as
I guess maybe just in the way of information, I have the first, it's virtual tomorrow at noon, meeting with the architect's designer for the first look sort of at furnishings for the interior. So we're starting that.
That's exciting. Good.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
We got some nice stuff.
Okay. Okay. I'll run it by you.
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, keep us posted. Let us know where you find if that's some.
Okay. Will do.
Good. So being no other comments, we can move on to our next agenda item here. Just a quick review of the public safety complex. So we still have some retro commissioning work going on there with Kevin Kelly. He chimed in and said, things are still moving along. They're going well. They come slowed down a little bit with the COVID-19. It's getting vendors there and contractors to support the little work that's needed to be done is a little challenging. I guess the primary work to be done still there is the HVAC and the EOC room. So it did perform decently through the winter when the room was occupied to the numbers it was designed to. Moving in the summer months, hopefully we can monitor it and keep an eye on it. But there's still some notions there that they need some increased HVAC in both summer and winter. So Kevin's still tracking it. It's just a little slower than we'd like right now. But and then Steve, I don't know, is there any comments on the WSP work going on? No.
On
Okay.
I'm not up to date on the WSP.
No, that's the town work, Steve. Yeah. Thank you though for chiming in.
Yep.
But the gutter brackets, I don't know if you can give us a little update there. I don't know if you have anything on the gutter brackets.
I don't have much. I reached out to them to find out. Last time, they had come out. They had, taken the sample brackets off of the back of the building so that they could make them up and then send them to the galvanizer. And they said that they would have a better idea when they could be out to the job once it's back from the galvanizer. I asked whether they have received anything back or any kind of schedule from the galvanizer. I think they're bringing them to Duncan. But I did not get a response. But I do know that Greenwood is signatory to the Carpenters Union, and the Carpenters Union has stopped work because of COVID-19. And I'm sure that's going to have something to do with communication, and certainly even if they had them, they may not be coming out to the site. I know there's a lot of talk in the industry about the Carpenters Union and the fact that the other unions didn't follow suit. So I don't know how long their work stoppage is actually going to last.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a pretty common case across the board in industry. I see it with my work too. A lot of these projects and some of the vendors are stopping work, and it's just part of the time we're in. So if you could just keep us posted and with dates and times, and certainly keep the folks posted at the public safety complex of when work's going to be happening, that'd be great.
I will, yes.
Any other comments or anything to feedback for the public safety complex from the board?
No. Nope.
All right. So we can move on to our next item on the agenda here to wrap up things shortly is the library project update. So the one last piece of work is getting done, luckily. So the ADA walkway is getting done. I don't know if anybody's driven by, but it looks great. It's really what we needed, I think. The concrete's down both sides of the road, have the pads and the ramps done. it's nice to see. It's been a long time in the waiting, certainly. So unfortunately, when they got up to the patio area, it was looking like there was, some changes where the walkway butted up to the patio. The side to side elevations were a little off and looking like they weren't going to meet the ADA requirements. So they investigated a little more and dug into it, and that was the case. So basically the pitch was anywhere from 2 to 5 degrees at some point. So it caused it caused some rework, let's say. So they went out and shopped it around and got some pricing from Argus, who was doing the walkway, and it seemed like they were the right people to do it. So there is a change order for the work, and then the change order for the sidewalk work that I sent out earlier, and we can vote on here tonight. Is there any questions on the sidewalk or anything, clarity anyone needs, or any comments?
No, I happened to pass by there this afternoon. There was no workers there, and so it was, but I can see where the town inspector, Bob Vogel, questioned about the cross slope.
Right.
And I guess that's where part of the extra is going to come in.
Yes. Yeah, he did a really thorough review and then did a nice write-up on it, and which is appreciated from him. And I think
Yes, yeah.
I think he's spot on.
I'm assuming that they use instruments to detect that 2% cross slope. It's awfully slight, but
Right.
he said it was necessary, so I can concur with that.
Well, given the history of this part of the library project, I think it's better to err on.
Absolutely.
No, we're there. We have people working. We have people mobilized. If there's work to be done, it's the right time to do it. Certainly.
Can I just make a comment? This is Jesse.
Go ahead, Jesse. Yes.
I just really wanted to say, I know he's not on the call, but I wanted to thank Kevin Cafferty because he just really sort of saw the need and stepped up and helped us get this resolved, and I'm just really appreciative of that, and also all of Bob's work on this as well.
Thank you, Jesse, for chiming in. Yeah, there were much needed resources, and they did a nice job. So I appreciate you speaking up. Thank you. All right, let's get to the meat of it here. So there's a proposed change order number 13 for the project. This was basically to pick up where the last construction company had left off, and to really mobilize and survey and look at the project and reinstall it, and get the concrete down, restore the loam, and do both sides of the crosswalk. So it was a little extra work because they added some length to the project, which we knew. So after the final look at it, they added, I forget how many feet it was, but it was a considerable amount of linear footage added to the sidewalk to make it meet code. So anyway, so there's a proposed change order number 13 for $31,379.54 to get the work done and completed and everything, which it's underway. So this is a change. We had approved, I think, $25,000 for this previously, so there was a little more money needed. So the crew did go back to the Board of Selectmen for both portions of this, and they reviewed it and looked at it, and they approved both of the changes and the money for the changes. So we just need to vote on it tonight, just to formalize things here.
Can I just ask a quick question about the drain?
Yes, Jesse.
Sorry. I had seen an email from Nancy where the change order for the drain is actually not a part of this. Does that mean that they won't move forward with it, or are they able to move forward with that and as part of this work? Because that was just a huge, a very inexpensive fix to a huge problem.
Yeah. Do you want to answer? I can answer.
Sure. Either way, Jesse, I only received the patio change order this morning. This is Nancy speaking, the only female in the room. And I'm assuming after my discussion with Kevin Cafferty that the drain change order will be coming, but that one is short money anyways, and we had other places to cover it from if we run out of what the funds that have been released by the board.
Yeah.
Okay,
So the
thank you
short
so
of it, it's definitely work that's worth doing, and it'll get done.
Great, thank you.
Just one note on the landscaping on CO 13. Argus is not responsible for the grow-in period of seed, so the town is going to be the responsible party
Right.
for watering the seed for germination.
Yes, I think that the Kevin and crew will handle that end of the work. Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Another question, Mr. Chair?
Yes, Karen.
One of the things the board was very concerned about in the conversation about releasing the funds was the estimated cost of removing what is really a small portion of the patio to accommodate the new walkway and make it ADA compliant.
Right.
And we were hoping that TBC would put a steely eye on those costs for us.
So I did review it, and these pavers are fairly labor intensive. The work to be done to pull them out and regrade and get the patio and compact it in the right place to lay these pavers down and then to kind of stack them in place is it's kind of intricate work. Yeah, the price is a little much, but I don't know if anyone else has experience with pavers and doing this kind of work, but it is fairly labor intensive. But does anyone else have any comments on the board or the price or the work that's being proposed?
Is the change order we're being asked to approve, is this for 100% of all the work associated with the walkway?
So there's two change orders. There's a change order 13 and a change order 15. The change order 13 is for the concrete pathway out in front. There's a change order 15 for just the patio work, and I can tell you it's $18,961.80.
Wow, okay.
So that's to remove.
And this is it after these two, assuming they get approved. There's no more change
Right.
orders in the wings for these pieces of work.
Right. So that's the $18,000.
Great.
The $18,000 is to remove 1,300 square feet of pavers, stack them, basically bring in some stone dust, regrade the whole area, shoot it with lasers, and then reinstall the pavers.
How many estimates did they get to do this patio work?
So Argus is there doing the work, and they've been doing work for town. They're a vetted vendor with the town. They're there. They're mobilized. So they were just kind of it was a scope change, and it was rolled into the project.
Yeah, as I said, I was up there this afternoon, and it is a large area, labor-intensive type of project.
Yeah.
Especially if they all have to be removed and then reset to the new elevations.
Yeah. Does that help, Karen, with the explanation from the board, at least on a review?
Yeah, I mean, we had the same feeling. It seemed like an extraordinary amount of money for what is really physically not a very large area. So we were hoping that the expertise of your commission would
Right.
ease our minds on that. But it is what it is. We know the contractor's good and he is available, and
Yeah.
we do want to get this done. So we don't want to delay that piece. But yeah, it just and when I believe when it was presented to us, and Nancy can correct me, it was 15 to 18. So I'm a little, my stomach's in my throat
Yeah.
knowing that it's at the high end of that.
No, I hear you. I mean, me personally, no, the price it's a lot, but to me it seems pretty in line with some of the projects I've seen and some of the work I've seen. So I don't know.
Well, the board will rely on you guys, your expertise.
Yeah. Was there another comment?
Steve, Stephanie. Yeah, Stephanie Holland. Quick question. Is it a not to exceed, or can we ask them to make it a not to exceed for the quote to kind of give a little bit of peace of mind? And also, my other comment on it is it says for the project for PCO 15, it says track and athletic field. I realize it's just a typo, but just in case from a paperwork standpoint, we may want to have them just kind of update that.
Okay.
I have no idea what she just said in the last.
The project called out says track and athletic field.
That's because they're the contractor for that.
Oh, okay. Oh, so they're paying them through that. Okay. So
Okay.
it is.
If it doesn't matter, then cool. I just figured I'd bring it up in case.
There'll be a transfer of money from the project, right? I mean.
Yeah, the library would pay for this. If so approved, the library project will pay for those 2 change orders.
Got it. Does that make sense, everyone?
Who
Yep,
from the
thank you.
town's been working with the contractor on that patio as far as getting the price?
Kevin Cafferty, Kevin Kelly, and Bob Vogel.
Do any of them have any pull with the contractor to get him to sharpen the pencil? Or have they already done that?
Mr. Cafferty has. I discussed it with him this morning since the change order that was provided this morning was higher than what the original estimate was. And he said he had gone back and spoken to them again. And one of the options was for them to take the entire patio out and number it and then try to put it back together that way. And they felt that would be more cost prohibitive than just recutting it. And part of the expense was the fact that they're going to have to recut the stones because they're pavers to make it fit with the change. And that was why it's not just a simple put in place and click it. A lot of these stones are going to have to be recut.
I see.
Yeah, it's almost a full surgical demo than a full reinstall. That's why I think it bears the cost that it does.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions?
No.
Okay. All right, so I'll go back to change order 13 for the project here. So this was the one for the completion of the actual pathway, sidewalk, concrete work, excavation work, in the loam work and seeding and backfill of the, and then including both ends of the sidewalk for the street crossing there on Branch Street. So I'd like to make a motion to approve proposed change order number 13 at the Scituate Library for sidewalk replacement work, including the completion of the ADA compliant pathway and the completion of both landings on Branch Street for a handicap crossing in the amount of $31,379.54. Sorry, the word. I'm typing away.
Second.
So that was a second from Larry.
Okay, in the middle of writing that number.
Do you need it again? I kind of.
Nope, I have it next to me.
Okay.
Ms. Holland,
Aye.
Mr. DeSalvio,
Aye.
Mr. Gilmet,
Aye.
Ms. Finney,
Aye.
Mr. Compagna,
Aye.
Mr. Shea.
Aye. All right, so for the PCO number 15 here, so this is for the sidewalk, I mean, not the sidewalk, the patio and the paver removals. So is this something the board wants to vote on tonight, or are we looking to go back and revisit this with the contractor? They're on site, they're mobilized. Any comments?
I think if you go to somebody else, you're going to get a mobilization cost increase.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
yeah.
I would agree with
although it's not.
Stephanie.
Yeah.
I would agree with Stephanie, and I think after all the delay, time is of the essence here.
Exactly.
Get this thing finally complete.
Okay. All right, so we'll vote it here. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the change order number 15 to Argus Construction for the rework and regrading of the 1,300 square foot patio at the Scituate Library to meet ADA accessibility requirements. The patio pavers will be removed. Patio will be regraded and pavers will be reinstalled. The amount of the change order is $18,961.80. Is there a second?
Second?
There's a second from Carl.
Okay. Ms. Holland?
Aye.
Mr. DeSalvio?
Aye.
Mr. Gilmet?
Aye.
Ms. Finney?
Aye.
Mr. Compagna?
Aye.
Mr. Shea?
Aye. So unanimous, so moved. All right, thank you. Is there any other comments or questions or anything that anyone has to say for the library project?
I do.
Okay. Nancy, there's one more for the library project here.
So between what the Board of Selectmen released and what the PBC had under their control, it was $51,000 even. And we're basically just about at 50.
Okay.
And we still, as Ms. Finney mentioned earlier, we still have the drain. Does the PBC want to make any type of, have any type of discussion about the drain, which is supposed to be approximately $1,500? If they want to take it up at their next meeting, or what they want to do with that, or just a not to exceed for the balance of what's been released. It can be taken up at the next meeting, that's fine, or at least an authorization to move forward with the drain.
Right. I mean, Jesse, you've seen it firsthand, right? I mean, something needs to get done, right? Is there ponding down there? Or?
Yeah, it's pretty bad when we have some of our really heavy rains. So much so that it has a couple of times seeped into that small foyer. So it's in the long run, it should be saving the town money, because I do worry that it's going to cause damage into the building.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense if they got the patio up at this point.
Right.
I think, I'm comfortable with getting the work done, certainly, and hopefully Argus could do it for the all-in cost of the money we have allocated from the board selectmen. How much is exactly left? Is it? That's okay.
Hold on, let me just put those two numbers in Excel and I can tell you.
Okay.
I was not prepared for that question. $658.66 will be remaining of the $51,000.
Can you say that again, Nancy?
Sure. $658.66 will be remaining of the $51,000 that's been released for the PBC to do this work.
Thank you.
And they're looking for $1,500.
Yes. But
Nancy, I don't know if it's allowable for us to use anything that might be in the library's operating budget. I know we're being really careful with those expenses right now, but there are a couple of things that are maintenance that I would normally be doing that I will not be doing this year due to everything that's going on.
As long as the committee is amenable, Ms. Finney has just said that she can identify potentially some budget funds, as well as Mr. Kelly previously said from his facilities budget. Just as a point of clarification, all departments are under fiscal constraints, and they've been advised by me that they cannot expend money unless it's COVID-19 related or due to continuing operations. This had been discussed prior to that, and it's a small amount of money, and to me, it would be continuing operations, as it will be cost prohibitive if we have flooding.
Right. Okay. So is the board comfortable with approving the remainder of the funds allocated to this drainage work, and then the remainder of the funds will be supplemented from one of the other towns' departments?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want to make a motion?
Yes, sorry, I was nervous.
Yeah, might as well so they can do it. Just trying to think of a motion. All right, let me see if we can do this here. I'd like to make a motion to approve the drainage work to complete the patio work at the Scituate Library by Argus Construction in a not to exceed amount of $1,500. Funds will be allocated from the balance that's left of the Board of Selectmen's distribution to the project. Additional funds will be made up by one of the other towns' facilities budgets. Is there a second?
Second.
Sorry. Ms. Holland?
Aye.
Mr. DeSalvio?
Aye.
Mr. Gilmet?
Aye.
Ms. Finney?
Aye.
Mr. Compagna?
Aye.
Mr. Shea?
Aye. All right, so moved. Thank you. All right, hopefully that wraps things up and we get this library project closed, which would be nice. I'm sure Jesse will be happy.
I know. I'd be even happier if the patrons were there to celebrate with us.
I know. That's hard. Soon enough. Soon enough. All right, so moving on to the next item on the agenda here. Is there any old business, new business, anything anybody would like to discuss or bring up at this time? Good. I'll take silence as a no. Nancy Monet. All right, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting. It's 8:10. Is there a second?
Second.
No, everybody wants a second now. I'll give it to Larry. Larry's second.
Okay. Ms. Holland?
Aye.
Mr. Shea?
Aye.
Mr. DeSalvio?
Aye.
Mr. Gilmet?
Aye.
Ms. Finney?
Aye.
Mr. Compagna?
Aye.
Deputy Chief Elliott?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Ms. Hayes?
Aye.
I think I got everybody.
Okay. Great. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for participating.
Thanks.
Everybody,
Thank you,
be
too.
safe
Thank
and healthy out there.
Thanks. Good night.
Have a good night.
Good night. Stay safe.
Aye.